Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back with me, Miss Ira, in Presentation of CEFR. Okay, today we are going to talk about Chapter 5, entitled The Users or Learners' Competences from book Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, Learning, Teaching, and Assessment. All right, let's begin. Talk about the user learners of competence. The user learners competence consists of general competences and communicative language competences. All human competences contribute in one way or another user's ability to communicate and may be regarded as aspect of communicative competence. The general competence consists of declarative knowledge or savoir. The second is skills and know-how, and then existential competence, and then ability to learn, okay? And what's the meaning of declarative knowledge? Okay, the declarative knowledge of the world, the location, institution, and organizations, persons, object, events, process, and operation in different domains, and then classes of entities of and another properties and relation as set out. And then the second is social cultural knowledge, just like everyday living condition, interpersonal relation, values, and then beliefs and attitudes, body language, and then social convention, also ritual behavior. What about intercultural awareness? Okay, intercultural awareness includes an awareness of regional and social diversity in both world and origin and the world of the target communication. And then the second one is skills and know-how. Consists of two: practical skill and know-how include social skills, living skills, and then vocational and professional skills, and then leisure skills. And then the intercultural skill and know-how, the ability to bring the culture of origin and the foreign culture into relation with each other. Cultural sensitivity and the ability to identify and use a variety of strategies for contact with those from the other cultures. Okay, the capacity to fulfill the role of cultural intermediately when one's own culture and the foreign culture, to deal effectively with the intercultural misunderstanding and conflict situations. And the last is the ability to overcome stereotyped relationship. And the last is existential competence. Consists of attitudes, motivation, values, beliefs, cognitive styles, and personality factors. Okay. The next is ability to learn. Ability to learn consists of language and communication awareness, general phonetic awareness and skills, study skills, and heuristic skills. What's the meaning of linguistic competences again? Linguistic competences, it consists of lexical competences, grammatical competences, semantic competence, and then phonological competence, orthographic competence, and also orthoepic competence. And then sociolinguistic competence consists of linguistic markers of social relations, and then politeness conventions, and then expression of folk wisdom, and then register differences, and then dialect and accent. All right, the third is pragmatic competences, consists of discourse competence and functional competence. All right, linguistic competence consists of lexical competence. It divided into two: lexical elements and grammatical elements. And then grammatical competence, such as elements, categories, classes, structures, processes, and relation, also morphology and syntax. And then semantics competence consists of lexical semantics, grammatical semantics, and then pragmatical semantics. And then phonological competence consists of distinctive features, syllable structure, and then prosody, and then phonetic reduction. Next, the fifth is orthographic competence, the perception and production of the symbols of which written texts are composed. And what about orthographic competence? It produces correct pronunciation from the pattern form. Okay, this is lexical competence, and then lexical elements. Fixed expression, and then fixed expression include essential formula, direct exponents of language functions such as greetings, proverbs, and then archaism, and then phrase idioms, and then fixed frames, other fixed phrase, and then fixed collocation, and then okay. Single word form include members of the open word classes, just like noun, verb, adjective, adverb, though this maybe include close lexical sets, for example, days of the week, months of the year, and then with and measures, and etc. Lexical competence, grammatical elements, close to the word classes, all right? Just like articles, for example, a, and the, and then quantifier, some, all, many, and etc. And then demonstrative, these, that, these, those. And then personal pronouns, I, we, she, it, they, me, you, and etc. And then question words and relatives, just like who, what, which, where, how, and etc. And then possessive, my, your, my, your, his, her, its, and etc. And then preposition, just like in, at, by, with, of, okay. And then auxiliary verb, just like be, do, have, and models. And then conjunction, and, but, if, although. And then for example, interment is cha, ul, aber, to, and etc. And then grammatical competence. What is grammatical competence? Grammatical competence is the ability to understand and express meaning by producing and recognizing with these principles, for example, as opposed to memorizing and reproducing them as fixed formula. Okay, the description of grammatical organization involves the specification of elements, categories, and then classes, structure, processes, and relations. For example, of the elements, just like morphs, and then morphemes, roots, and affixes, and then words. Categories, just like number, case, gender, and etc. And then classes, just like conjugations, declensions, open word classes. And then structures, just like compound, complex words, processes, clauses, and etc. And then processes, just like nominalization, affixation, suppletion, and gradation, transposition, and transformation. And the last is relation, just like, for example, government, valency, just like that. And then semantic competence deals with the learner awareness and control of the organization meaning. Just it consists of lexical semantics, grammatical semantics, and pragmatic semantics. The first is lexical semantics, deals with the questions of word meaning. For example, relation of the word to general context, reference, connotation, exponents of general specification, notion. Interlexical relations such as synonym, antonym, hyponym, collocation, part-whole relation, and then componential activities. All right, and the second is grammatical semantics, deals with the meaning of grammatical elements, categories, structures, and processes. And the last is pragmatic semantics, deals with the logical relations such as entailment, and then presupposition and implicator, and etc. What about phonological competence? Phonological competence involves a knowledge and skill in the perception and production of the sounds you need, the phonetic features, the phonetic composition, sentence phonetics, and then phonetics reduction. What about orthographic competence? Orthographic competence involves a knowledge of and skill in the perception and production of the symbol of which written texts are composed. For alphabetic system, learners should know and be able to perceive and produce the form of letter, the proper spelling word, punctuation mark, typographical convention, and logographic sign. And then the next is orthoepic competence. This may involve knowledge of spelling conventions, ability to consult dictionary, and knowledge of the convention used. Therefore, the representation of pronunciation, and then knowledge of the implication of written forms, particularly punctuation marks, for phrasing and intonation. And the last is ability to resolve ambiguity, just like harmony, syntactic ambiguities, and etc. in the light of context. All right, next is socio-linguistic competence, consists of linguistic markers of social relation, politeness convention, expression of folk wisdom, dialect and accent, and the last is register differences. Linguistic markers of social relation. It consists of the use of choice of greetings, just like on arrival, introductions, leave taking, and then use and choice of address forms, frozen, formal, informal, familiar, peremptory, ritual insult, and then convention for turn taking, and then use and choice of expletives, just like dear, my cup, and etc. And then politeness convention, positive politeness, for example, showing interest in a person's well-being, and then showing experiences and concern, and then expressing admiration, affection, gratitude, and then offering gift, promising future favors and hospitality. Negative politeness, just like avoiding waste-threatening behavior, just like this. And then expressing regret, apologizing for waste-threatening behavior, just like correction, contradiction, prohibition, etc. Using hedges, etc. I think that question, and etc. The next is appropriate use of please, just like thank you, etc. And then in politeness, deliberate floating of politeness convention, for example, politeness, frankness, and then expressing contempt, dislike, strong complaint and reprimand, and then venting anger, impatience, and asserting superiority. Next, about expression of folk wisdom, just like consists of proverbs, for example, a stage in time saves 9. Idioms, for example, a spread to catch mackerel, or be very eager, and then what is it? Yeah, just like the other idioms. And then familiar questions, for example, a man for a that. And then expression of belief, such as whether was, Weather south, for example, fine before 7, rain by 11 altitude, such as glitch. It takes all sort to make a world values. For example, it's not cricket. The next is register differences. The term register is used to refer the systematic differences between varieties of language used in different contexts. Frozen. For example, praise Alan for his worship of the mayor. Formal. May we now come to order, please? Natural. Shall we begin? Informal. Right. What about making a start? Familiar. Okay, let's get going. And then intimate. For example, ready? All right, just like. And then dialect and accent. Sociolinguistic competence also includes the ability to recognize the linguistic markers. For example, social class, regional provenance, national origin, ethnicity, and then occupational group. Such markers include a lexicon, for example, Scottish V for small, grammar of Cockney, I ain't seen nothing, for I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything. And then phonology, for example, New York poet for bird. Bird for bird. In New York, if you wanna the New York pips say bird, here like bird. It's like that. Then vocal characteristic, just like rhythm, loudness, and etc. And then paralinguistic and body language. Pragmatic competences consist of discourse competence, functional competence, and design competence. Discourse competence is the ability of the user or learner to arrange sentences in sequence so as to produce coherent stretch of the language. It includes knowledge and ability to control the ordering of sentences in terms of topic or focus, given or new, natural sequencing, just like temporal. For example, he fell over and I hit him. As against, I hit him and he fell over. Because evac, prices are rising because the prices are raising, and then people want higher wages. And then ability to structure and manage discourse in terms of thematic organization. And then coherence and cohesion, logical ordering, style and register, theoretical effectiveness. And then the next is illustrative scale are available for the following aspect and discourse competence, just like flexibility or circumstances, turn taking, also presented under the interaction strategies, thematic development, and coherence and cohesion. And then functional competence or microfunction are categories for the functional use of single are usually short utterance, usually as terms in an interaction. Microfunctions are categorized in some detail. The first is imparting and seeking factual information, just like identifying, reporting, correcting, asking, and answering. And the second is expressing and finding out attitudes. This is factual, just like agreement or disagreement, knowledge. And then modality, volition, emotion, just like emotion, just like likes, dislikes, satisfaction, interest, surprise, hope, disappointment, fear, worry, and gratitude. And then moral, just like apologize, approval, regret, and sympathy. And then suggestion, request, warning, advice, encouragement, asking help, invitation, and etc. All right, and then the fourth is socializing. Attraction, attention, addressing, greeting, introduction, and then toasting. And what is it? Leave taking. And the fifth is structuring discourse. And then communicative repair. Functional competence. Functional competence. Macro functions are categorized for the functional use of spoken discourse or written text consisting of a sometimes extended sequence of sentences, for example, description, narration, and then commentary, exposition, exegesis, explanation, demonstration, instruction, argumentation, and also persuasion. Okay, this is the functional competence, yeah. Interaction schemata. This is the pattern of social interaction. General scheme for purchase of goods or services. The first one is moving to the place transaction, and then we are finding the way to shop, and then finding the way to the counter, exchanging greeting, blah blah blah, until leave taking, expressing mutual satisfaction, and blah blah blah, exchanging parting greetings, and then assistant greets and customer greets. So this is the pattern how we go to the market, because this is the schema for purchase of goods or service. Yeah, we are going to the market, we are going to the counter, and then selecting blah 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 blah, selecting the good or service, and then giving information, identifying, and then seeking advice. Maybe we can ask the, what is it, the employment, and then asking for preference, blah blah blah, until we got the goods or service we need, and then creates assistant creates and customer creates. And then two generic qualitative factors which determine the functional success of the learner or user are: the first is fluency, the second is professional precision. What is fluency? Fluency is the ability to articulate, to keep going, and to cope when one lands in that end. And then propositional precision is the ability to formulate thought and proposition so as to make one's meaning clear. Okay, we are done with the 5th chapter. I hope that all of you who can understand what I explained to you from the first until the last. Okay, I hope that will be useful for all of us. Thank you for watching, everyone. See you on the next chapter. Bye-bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.